Hello, parents and guardians. I wanted to go over some information that I gave out before the first day of school, understanding our new grading scale. Our current grading scale looks like the novice, partially proficient, proficient, and advanced proficient, which is a change that was made about 10 years ago. Times are changing, grading is changing a little bit. We want to be more specific in the feedback that we're giving students, and we think it's important to show exactly where that work is. We want students to still be graded on standards, and we're looking at their work as far as do they know the material, and also what kind of effort are they giving within that work. And those are two things that we do grade individually, but still something that we want to take into account. I think a lot of the questions that come up is why are we changing? We want to focus more on what students know and can do. Helps to clearly show progress over time. We have students that struggle a lot with some new concepts, which is completely normal, and we expect that. But it can be hard to show that progress over time when there isn't more of a scale to show they're novice. They don't always make it into partially proficient right away, and so that can be difficult to show, yes, they are novice, but they do know more than they did the first time. It promotes a growth mindset, which was what we want our children to know and understand, as they may not know it yet. We call that the power of yet, but they need time to learn it, and being able to show them that growth is incredibly beneficial. And it aligns with our standards-based learning a lot better than the novice, partially proficient, proficient, and advanced proficient, as well as the North Dakota assessment that we take, the NDA Plus, which we take the interim in fall and winter, and we take the summative in the spring for grades 3 through 5. It aligns a lot better with what we're looking at when we look at our assessments. Because they're not given in just novice, partially proficient. They're not given in A, B, C, D, F. And so they are given within that 1, 2, 3, 4. But we want to give a little bit more specific feedback. And it's more specific than our current grading scale. So parents get a better idea of how their child is doing and how their child is progressing. So here's what a grading scale, very basic, looks like. 0.5 is beginning to understand with help. So they are able to, this may be when they learn a new topic immediately, they are beginning to understand, but they still need help. They are a little bit better at a 1 in understanding a little bit more independently, but still utilizing a lot of teacher assistance. 1.5 would be some independent understanding with less help needed from the teacher. A 2 would be a very basic understanding of that skill, but it does meet the foundational skill, so any skill that came before it. A 2.5 would be our basic understanding with the ability to apply that sometimes to what they're doing. So that may be able to do the very basics of addition, but if we want them to be able to do word problems, they're able to do that basic plus maybe a short word problem, not multi-step yet. A 3.0 is exactly where we want students by the end of the year in all of our standards. They have a strong understanding and it meets the grade level expectation. If it gives us a standard, we can say, yes, the student is doing that. And that's where we want all of our students by the end of the year. A 3.5 is right at their grade level, plus some deeper thinking. Can they apply that outside of what we are giving them? Can they teach it to someone else? Is it something they can dive a little bit deeper on? And a 4.0 is exceeding the grade level. They're independent and have a deep understanding. A lot of times when we look at that, we're looking at, if you are a second grader, can you do this standard at a third grade level? How well are you able to do that at the next grade level? Some standards have the ability to go on to the next grade level, some do not. So a 3.5 and a 4.0 are going to be much more difficult to get. But like I said before, we want our children at 3.0 by the end of the year. And some students need to be able to see that growth so that they know that, yes, I may not understand it completely yet, but I am getting better each time I do it. What we want you to know is that we do not expect students to be at a 3.0 until the end of the school year. Many of those skills and concepts in reading and in math are spread out over the year and worked on many times before we expect them to meet this standard. Teachers will consistently review many of those skills and concepts many times throughout the year, whether it be in small groups. A lot of times we will take our short weeks and review some of those bigger skills and bigger concepts. So working from a lower number, whether it be a 0.5 that they come in with or a 2.0 they come in with, a 3.0 during the year is not expected. And so we do want to see that by the end of the year. What's different is it's not based on percentages or averages. We're only measuring learning goals, not just assignment completion. When we look under behavior grades, that's where we're going to see assignment completion. Are they putting in the work? When we look at the actual standards in math and reading, do they know that specific skill and concept? And so it takes what they know and still grading or giving them a grade on that behavior grade of, are they putting in the effort? Are they turning it in on time? Things like that. Students know exactly what they need to learn next, and it encourages ongoing improvement, not just getting the grade. So we want children that are moving through their journey of learning and knowing skills to see, I may have started at a 0.5, but now I'm at a 2. We're not just worried about, do you know it, do you not know it? And so we want them to be able to see, yes, that ongoing improvement is important, and they don't just need to know it, understand it, and move on. Benefits for students and families, it's going to show that clear learning progress, which we don't have a lot of right now because we don't have a lot in between novice, partially proficient, proficient, advanced proficient. It motivates students to continue improving. We have much more meaningful feedback when we can be more specific in their grading, not just saying, oh, they're novice. There's a very wide range of novice from, if you look at a 0.5 to a 1.5, there, that's a very big range of things that they need to know. And so that's a lot more specific feedback. We can help parents support learning at home by giving some of that feedback, giving you additional things. They are at a 2.5. This is what they would need to know at home. And it focuses on their skills, not just their scores. We do need to score them. It is important that students have a score and they know and understand what that looks like, but we also want them to focus on knowing and understanding those skills. So a reading example, this would be an example of identifying the main idea. And you can see it goes from 0.5 with teacher help can point to a sentence, but it's not actually related to the main idea. A 1.0 would recognize a topic word, but can't really explain the actual main idea. 1.5, they can sometimes state the main idea with a lot of prompting from the teacher or choices that the teacher is giving them. A 2.0 can correctly state the main idea of a very short, simple passage with support. Sometimes that's not on their grade level to keep it a little bit easier to be able to know and understand what the main idea is. 2.5 is usually finds the main idea in a short passage, but misses details, or it needs a hint or some support from the teacher. A 3.0 is exactly where we would want them by the end of the year. They independently identify the main idea and support it with one key detail. And so we do have rubrics for all of our essential standards that look very similar to this. And so we are able to get way more specific, and you can see then as a parent, if your child gets a 2.0, okay, they may know how to state the main idea, but it's in a short, simple passage and they're still needing some support. And so instead of sending home, oh, this is novice, or they were novice on this assignment, we are able to give you a lot more specific feedback. A math skill that they would be learning, multiplying multi-digit numbers, that is a 4th grade standard. From a 0.5 would be with help, can count objects or skip count, but not really multiply. So they're not really able to know and understand what that exactly looks like. A 1.0 is solving just simple multiplication facts. 1.5 solves facts correctly, but needs help with those strategies and reminders from the teacher, from somebody that's working with them. 2.0 is accurately multiplies single digit numbers. They have single digits down. They're doing that with consistency each time. A 2.5 is getting very close to what we want them to do. It starts multi-digit multiplication like 23 times 4. They may not be at 24 times 22, but we do have it a lot closer, but they do often make mistakes. And 3.0 is accurately multiplies multi-digit numbers using the standard algorithm. So that's exactly how we're teaching it in class. They're doing it with consistency most of the time. And so we don't expect them to be perfect by any means, but if they do receive a 3.0, it means they are doing that on a consistent basis. Taking it a step further would be a 3.5 multiplies multi-digit number and checks work for accuracy. So not only do they know how to do what we're asking them to do, they can do it backwards so they are able to see and check for accuracy with very few mistakes. A 4.0 is looking at that additional step of solving multi-digit multiplication problems in real-world situations and explains strategies. Again, we do not expect students to be at a 3.5 or a 4.0. A 3.0 is exactly where we want our students, but we do have students that know and understand a little bit more, and that's great. But where we want our students by the end of the year is a 3.0. Since we are online, there are no questions. If you do have specific questions for me or for your child's teacher, that would be a great place to start. Our first conference is October 13th. And so that is where you're going to be able to see this for the first time if you haven't logged into PowerSchool yet, what it's going to look like, how it's going to look, and be able to answer any of your questions that you do have. Speak with your child's teacher. They've been doing this entire quarter. This is something new. It's something we are working with on PowerSchool. And so it is very new to us, but I also think it is very important that parents have the ability to know and understand how and what we are grading in the classroom. I very much appreciate your time, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.